Okay, everybody. This is the screencast for Tuesday, May the 2nd. Pardon me, Wednesday, May the 2nd, for Management 3603. And we covered on Mondays in the recording, the screencast that was recorded earlier. And this one's being recorded earlier. We talked about the analytical hierarchy process, and I showed you the file and walked you through the solution, how it came about, and essentially how we use it in dealing with what we call multi-criteria decisions. You know, thus far where we had some variables, but we were working with one decision. In this, we were using one criteria. In this, we use multiple criteria. Okay, and we're over in chapter 14. So I'm going to go on down here, and we are working in chapter 14 and in module 13, okay? As I mentioned today, which will be the Wednesday, okay, the May 2nd. Again, this is pre-recorded. We're going to look at the scoring a case and that model. Now, again, I had this file to complete the AHP assignment. Okay. I'm going to open this up for just a moment. And so we have the file to upload it and walk you through the process. And I covered this as I covered the material in chapter 14. Okay? So you've got that to upload, and you should. And we'll go back to the module. And today we're going to talk about the scoring model. Okay? And this is the scoring that will be due, and on the 4th. So I'm going to go over here to the text, and here's section 14.3, scoring models. Now, there are a number of different approaches to this method, and the text is alluding to that, and they give us this case of a person graduating college with a double major, and this individual has gotten 3 job offers, and the student then walks through criteria, and then we come down to to an important point that the author's making. That's this italics over to the left. And this lets us indicate the important or weight of each criterion. And here we see the steps, and then we assign a weight to each of them. And then we assign a rating. Then we complete the score for each decision alternative, and walking us through the process. And then we order the decision alternatives from the highest score to the lowest. Now, I'm over here on page 675. As you can see it, you can see these criteria. And then in step 2, we prioritize them. We provide the weights, excuse me. Now, Again, we are weighting the priorities. We're not assuming that the priorities are all equal. And so we're using a scale to rate these criteria. And then we see the weights that were with each criterion and their importance. These methods for dealing with multi-criteria decisions are really are pretty simple, and the authors do, I think, a really good job of breaking it down step by step in what to do. We saw that in AHP, and we're going to see that here in this case as well. Then we look at this in terms of career advancements, and we build a table, okay? And these are the ratings for each decision criterion and each decision alternative combination. And so you can see the job and the city, and those are the decision alternatives. You got 3 of them. And then here are their criteria, and inside the table are the ratings. Okay? Now, again, I provided you with some theoretical models, some mathematical models. And you'll see those listed. Before I go any further, though, I want to also mention, I'm going to go through this case in a rather, in a pretty fast way, because I'm going to leave it to you to go and look at the resources that I've got listed here. And I want to show them to you for just a minute. And we're going to stop here for a second. We talked about satisficing versus optimizing Pareto efficiency. We talked about weighting by the reciprocal lattice. I'll go ahead and take a look at it. These are good resources. And here it is. And they explains the lattice and how it works. And this, of course, is a model that's been borrowed from physical sciences. Here's weighting by pairwise comparison. Walks you through all of that, developing the matrix. This is an excellent site. And here they're using, this is Geographic Information Systems Technology, Technology Training Alliance. And they're talking about using GIS, Geographic Information Systems, to deal with decision support. And so so it provides a very interesting pairwise interesting and well stated approach. So I want you to spend some time reading at that. So I may not go the full 50 minutes in terms of lecture and demo, but you do have some reading here to take a look at. And I count that as as stuff you should read, just like you've got the chapter to read. Then with the HPS file, and I said there's the file to complete, and then upload it here. Now I ask you to upload the scoring file, okay? And I want to show you the scoring screenshot here in just a sec, but let's go back to the book. And then we get a score for each decision alternative. And they show you the math for that. Then we come on down here and we look at the computation of the scores for the 3 decision alternatives, their weights, their ratings, how we came up with that, and the total. And now, of course, and we put in 3 sub-criteria: affordability of housing, recreational opportunities, and climate. So these are sub-criteria. And they, also 3 sub-criteria would have to be assigned weights, and the authors talk about that. Now, this is an example from the real world where Ford Motor Company used the scoring model in terms of developing models. And that walks us over then into the analytical hierarchy process. So I want you to take a look at these resources that I found here for you, and understand that we're using the lattice as the theoretical model, and then we build the mathematical model, and then we run it. Now, again, you could, if you chose, simulate this. And you could use the simulation tools in Excel to simulate several scoring models. And it would be just simply a matter, you could randomize the weights, you could randomize the scores, or both. If, for example, you were trying to forecast or predict how a customer, client, end user, etc., might react to a product. Now, this comes into something that brings us into a question that I know I'm going to say the word statistics course, and the sweat breaks out on my head like yours. Okay. Weird. When we deal with ratings, we're not dealing with interval data. We're dealing with ratio data. Ratio data are not the same as interval data. And pardon me, not ratio, but ordinal data, excuse me. Right, and I'm just going to go through them. You should have learned them in stat. Ratio data are those that have a true 0 point. Interval data is data that is equally equally indivisible. Pardon me, equally divisible. You can divide it. Interval data would be, $5, $2.50, $1.25, 62.5 cents. You can go on. Then we have ordinal data, which indicate greater than or lesser than in some way. And then we have what we call nominal or categorical data that are just simply counts. And one of the things you have to be careful with this scoring model is that it uses ratio data. And so if you run simulations or you use these data, always keep in mind that we're dealing with ratings, and they have their own very special properties. So the book's pretty clear about how that's done, how it's achieved. You have the file, and let's look at, and I give you a screenshot for the scoring key, okay? And I'm going to zoom this up, try to make it, let's see here. Okay, now this is from 14.5, and I ask you to use GoalSeek to obtain a value of 167 for analyst Chicago by changing the job security rating for Chicago. So I have you change one of those variables, and then you use the GoalSeek, and I've got a screenshot there for you that shows the GoalSeek. And then we use GoalSeek again. Now I'm doing this so you can understand that we can use GoalSeek if we want to manipulate these to look at different values, or we could randomize them. We could randomize those ratings. And so I show you the key, the screenshot. Now we're going to go back over for a moment, okay? And I'm going to show you the scoring key in Excel. Now note I also have the AHP key. These keys are the files. Well, I give you, use this file to complete the AHP assignment and then upload it here. And I also give you the key. So I'm good to go either way. I don't want the AHP. I want the scoring key, and we'll open it up. Okay. Now I'm going to download it. I'll take this, move it out of the way. And here are the directions to obtain a value of 167 for the analyst Chicago by changing the job security rating. Then I ask you, how does that compare? And then what statistics might you use to compare the three new job ratings? Okay. So we've got the scores over here, and we're going to do this now to obtain for the analyst. So let me make a note here for just a minute. And we want to change the score for the analyst Chicago, and that's going to be over here. And see, it's the sum of C18 through C24. And it's going to be we're going to be looking at C26. And to get a score of 167 by changing the job security rate, that'll be the changing cell, and that job security rate rating would be here in C23. So I'm going to go up here, and notice we're not using the solver. We're just using the what if analysis. And we'll click on data. We'll go to what if analysis, and we'll use the GoalSeek. And I'm going to set the cell C, the value ones for analyst Chicago, I'm gonna set the cell C26, and I want that to the value be 167 by changing the cell, and that's the cell up here in C23. Click OK. And let's see, this cell has got to contain a value. So what I'm going to have to do here, I want to set cell C by changing cell C23. I'm going to set cell C26 to 167 by changing this some weirdness. So I'm going to use the goal seek. I'm going to set cell C26 to a 167 by changing the cell C23. Let's look at this for just a second. Now I remember. Okay. I did that. I did the screenshots to show you. This is B11 times cell, and these are both. And they contain, in the mind of the machine, they contain a formula. Oh, so, and that equals B11 times C11. And that's getting it back up into it's B11 times C11. And that's where we get the 26. So yeah, to do this and run it, and that's why I gave you the screenshots, do it run, you're going to have to take these data and put and just copy the values and paste them into another sheet. And you could do that with you could do that with copy and then paste special. And we'll go back over here for a minute. Let's do that. And I'm going to start here on A3, and I'm going to come all the way down to E26. And I'm going to copy them. Now I'm going to go into a new worksheet, and I'm going to paste values. Okay, so now we have values in here, and let's try the goal seek. So I'm going to go over here to goal seek, and let's go back to data. And I want to set this cell, and this would be C24 now, to 167 by changing the cell for this case, it's going to be C21. Oh, it says the cell must contain 4. That's strange. Let's cancel this back for a minute here. I know what I did wrong here. All right, here we go. We go seek. I'm going to set this cell to 167. And that's by changing the cell. Let's see. I want to change the. Well, I want to change the job security. The job security rating. I don't know how I'm getting this. This is weird. Okay. I'm going to close this off for just a minute. All right. And I want to go back to that. This shows us the key. I ask you to comment on it a little bit. Let's go back over here for just a second. There's a reason I did a screenshot. I think the problem is I need to download this and I just haven't done it. Okay, I'm going to zoom us in so we can see us. I'm sorry about this. I keep forgetting about these systems over here and how they respond. And this will show you the cell C26 to 167. And I changed by changing cell. Is that 11? Why in the world would I do that? Let's see. Let's go up here and take a look at this a little bit better. Okay. C11. That's going to be the rating. Okay. So we'll go escape on that. We're going to go back to the files. And we'll go get that file, the scoring key in Excel. I apologize about this. Wackiness of the day. Yeah, I'm going to enable the editing. And I'm going to go to data, what if analysis, and go seek. I'm going to set the cell C26. And we've done it by with 167. Let's just go ahead and put it 160. Well, then and we're going to change cell C11 here. And we should work. And we get the value. Now I'm going to cancel this for just a minute. And let's use the goal seek. Let's say if we wanted to get a score of let's take Denver job security score for Denver, and I'm going to say, okay, I want to use the goal seek, and I'm going to set cell, and this will be D26. Now I'm going to try, and I'm going to set that to the VAT to 170 by changing cell D11. This time we're talking about Denver. All right, so what we get. And there it is. So as you can see, we could simulate these numbers. We could do goal seek, all of that. So this is what you'll upload for the scoring model. Now, again, I'll go back here for a moment. I want to make sure explicitly okay? I want to make sure that we're clear about the resources that are out there for you to use. Pairwise comparison, the lattice model, but I also want to make certain, move this over here for a minute, that you pay quite a bit of attention to the text here as it talks you through these. And let me say this, if you're a marketing major, you really need to be cued in on this because this is a staple, especially for larger firms, in how they design products or product service bundles. And as I said before, there's a good, the use of the scoring model at Ford Motor Company and how they did it. Of course, then it takes us back to AHP. So you've got this passage here, and I really want you to carefully read it. And by doing that, you're going to cover some significant material. And I'll pop back on the reciprocal lattice. Okay? And how it works. And so we take, this is a methodology used in looking at crystals, evaluating them, a single crystal, and they show you the model and the incident ray, which is sunlight. Here's the crystal itself and a potential origin of the lattice. Then they walk us down with a lattice. And then we see the lattice integrated with the incident ray and the deflection. Now this is used, as I mentioned, in looking at materials that have crystalline structures. And then here they have compiled some data for an intensity on intensity, the counts. And so some pretty good reading here. And I think certainly worth your time and trouble. And we'll see a file here. I'm waiting by pairwise comparison. This is the one I mentioned earlier. And development of the matrix. And they give you advantages and disadvantages. I'll click this and I'm going to allow it so it will run the flash. There we are. And you can see for yourself. So a nice little resource there. And I spoke at great length in the Monday screencast about methods versus methodology. Again, how management science follows a scientific method. We've seen that in these cases. We've seen the underlying theoretical basis for them. And I've shown you what you need to upload. To get credit for the AHP Excel file, okay? And that it's due on May the 4th, and the scoring case is due on the 4th of May as well. And again, these two cases are from chapter 14, where we talk about multi-criteria decision making. As you can see, there are two models that they show us, the scoring models or the analytical hierarchy process, the AHP. And the text walks us through the process and how it all occurs. And then that's appendix appendix 14.1, excuse me, where we use the scoring model with Excel. Now, before I finish up, I just want to make sure that I keep us on track. AHP and scoring are due this week. They're uploads. Now, next week, you'll be turning in SAS Business Owner and Business 1, Part A, SAP Business 1, Part B, and then the Anderson text, the self-developed quiz. And you've got the instructions for them over there. So those will be due on the 11th. Now, on the 11th, here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be, on the 11th, I will probably do a short, probably for London, excuse me, for Monday the 7th, I will probably just simply be online. I may talk a little bit about the final exam, make sure everybody should be clear on that, and I'll probably do that, and that will be a screencast for both Monday and Wednesday, okay? Because we're coming down out of the finals, and so I will probably spend some time on Monday the 7th, a pre-recorded cast for that week of the 7th to the 11th, just focusing on the final exam. Okay? Well, this will do it for the screencast for May the 2nd. Of course, Friday the 4th of May is a virtual lab day. I've sent everybody my schedule, so you know my office hours, when I'll be there in Shawnee and when I'll be here in Oklahoma City holding virtual office hours. So this wraps up for us the I would say that, you know, the new material, the teaching part of the course. And what I will probably do next, what I will do next week is a pre-recorded screencast for both Monday and Wednesday that focuses you in on the final exam. Okay, well, I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to stop the recording.